Hello crafty friends, this is the Paper Chef here. Welcome to part 2 of creating a squash book. In this tutorial, you're going to learn how to create the triangles and the squares that you need to decorate your squash book. I showed you in the last video how to create this template out of cardstock. After I created this template with you, I did put it between a stack of catalogs and I let it, it doesn't look like it, but I did let it squish down a bit. I also created some more cardstock pieces for my next templates because I plan on making a couple more. So it's very important to use the coordinating colors, which I'll go over. I have a pack of Snail Mail Designer Series paper. So these are all ones that I have ready. I've already done the horizontal and diagonal folds like we learned in the last video. That'll be linked in the description if you missed that. And that was your homework to create some of these. Okay, so I have enough for 2 more squash books because in part 3, I'm going to be showing you how to assemble them, and I wanted to have 3 different ways of closing them to give you ideas. All right, so this is the Snail Mail Designer Series paper which we're working with in this video. The coordinating colors that I used for that cardstock are Basic Gray, Bermuda Bay, Blushing Bride, Daffodil Delight, Real Red, and Whisper White. I didn't use the Blushing Bride in this particular project, but it is one of the coordinating colors. So this is the paper. So I'm going to go through it because it's important for this tutorial to know which ones to use for triangles and which ones you shouldn't. First of all, I've done another tutorial on YouTube about cutting out these really fun images using your ScanNCut. So check that out as well. Don't use the paper this big for your triangles because although the other side is fine for your triangles, it would be a waste. Now let me just show you what I mean. These are the triangle size. It would cut off too much of those cute little guys if you used it for triangles, right? For your book. Too many of these cute images would get cut off. So you want to take the smaller patterns on your paper. You want to use these for your 4-inch squares, but not for your triangles. Although again, this side would be fine. But you'd rather have a side where both sides are fine. This is good for triangles because hello in 3 different languages. We have French, English, and German. So hello with the H-A. German, bonjour, French, and English. So those are cute for triangles because you can fit those on there. See? They fit on there perfectly. You can even get a few of the languages just in one triangle, which is nice. Okay? So on the other side is perfect too because you have the small mushroom pattern. So this is a great one for cutting triangles. So I would say yes, we could do that one next. We'll just put that one up to the side. We'll do that one next. Well, actually, I won't make you wait for me to cut it, but we'll set that one up next. Okay, now this one here, this looks like little postage stamps, is perfect, and it's the one I just cut before this video to show you that I think that one is perfect. Okay, so that one is the one I cut. So those 3 patterns are great, small patterns. Now this is hearts, tiny hearts, small patterns, perfect, but these are better for your 4-inch squares with your mushrooms. Okay, so I will put that off to the side, and then this one here is another perfect pattern. So you have, I would say, 4 perfect patterns. Look at the cute little snails on one side, how tiny, marching across. I mean, how fun. And so that's perfect. And on the other side, of course, you have that nice lined pattern. And now this paper here, again, I would just use this piece here. And you can see the Blushing Bride. I would use this one for your 3-inch squares. All right, so to review, we got 3-inch square. Let's see. This is good for 3-inch squares, and this is good for 3-inch squares. Okay, these 3. Whereas these 3 are good for your triangles. Okay, so that's what you need to cut out now. So your homework is, if you have this paper before the next video, cut out all your triangles, cut out 3 pages of them because you might as well. You'll have extras like I do, and you'll have them for your next part where we decorate the whole book. All right, so here we go. Let me just show you now. This is the ScanNCut. We're going to use the ScanNCut because of course you can cut triangles with your trimmer, and I'll give you a little tip for that too. But with the ScanNCut, you get perfect triangles, and after all, if you have it, why not use it, right? What I like about the ScanNCut is cutting all these triangles at right angles. See that? So you can put them in different parts of your squash book. I cut half one direction, half the other. So you save. What I did is I put these in little piles according to the direction that they were cut in, like that. Okay, and to use them for my decor, my little decoration. And then these 2 are at an angle. I didn't use this side because they weren't cut at the same angle. I used this side for these two because these two kind of fit at the bottom like this because of the way the auto layout has to help. You'll see on the screen. I'm going to show you the screen before we start. Okay, so I used all of these because I like this side better, and I put some of them facing up, some of them facing down. And then what you can do, what's nice about the ScanNCut, is you can make extra shapes that you might not be able to make with your, with other tools. Like this shape is built into the machine. Where's my little spatula? So we'll go ahead and add 4 of these shapes because they fit down the side. Now what are these shapes for? Let me get my bucket of crafty goodness. I made other ones that are bigger earlier. They're just for nice little, you can use them for your embellishments. When you write happy mail, you can put these, you can put your little happy mail on them, right? It's like it's an extra little layer, or you could put it on the front where you could put like another, you can use the rectangular postage stamp punch, which I have, right? Put a little sentiment on it. So I just did it because that's a good size that they fit, and I like to have extra embellishments. I have lots of extra embellishments in here. These are some of the things like these here, little gifts. Some of these I cut out with the ScanNCut. Not that one here, like this one. This one I cut out of the pattern paper. I like having a little bucket of crafty goodness. So I'll be cutting out some more of those before the final video. But you know how to cut out pattern paper, so let's not digress. All right, let's put a piece of this paper on. Oh no, we're going to do mushrooms. We'll do mushrooms because I have a lot of that other one. I said we'll put. So you're going to load your mat. Load your paper. I even had a little piece of, couple little pieces of painter's tape just to hold this, keep it from slipping on the sides. My mat is, it's pretty sticky, but it's getting a little. I've been doing a lot of these, so especially this corner catches sometimes, and that's why I don't like to put things up near that corner when I'm cutting. All right, so here's what the template looks like. I'm gonna get my camera in view. I know that was a long introduction, but I like to explain exactly what I'm doing, and I want you to be able to repeat the process. So here's what's on the screen. This is what we're making. We're making a template like this with your ScanNCut. And then it takes 3 minutes to cut the template. I won't make you wait for that, but then I'll get into how to decorate. So if I can pull that back a little, let me do that. Sorry about that. Here we go. So you could just cut squares. You could cut 4-inch squares, and you could make triangles just by using your paper trimmer and cutting them at a perfect angle, and you'd have your triangles. And you would get more out of your paper by doing that. Okay, you would get more triangles out of your paper. But I don't like cutting triangles. I like things that are precise, and because I have a machine, I like to use my machine to cut my triangles. So with that said, I did create this template, and I did save this template. So this template is saved on my machine, and I'm just going to overwrite it because I added those little postage stamp shape because I could, and the reason I added it the size I did because it fit right down the sides. All right, so let's start out with a blank template, which you'll be doing. You're going to turn on your ScanNCut. You're going to see pattern and scan. We're going to select pattern because we want to use the built-in pattern. And we're going to select the shapes because we want to use a triangle shape. Okay, and then you're going to scroll down in the shapes down here to just this triangle here. BA-A037. It's a right triangle, meaning it has like the angle. Well, I mean, I guess the others would work too once you change the dimensions, but let's use BA-AO37. I'd like you to be able to repeat everything. So now we're going to make it to 4 inches, okay? 4 inches wide and 4 inches high. So now I want to teach you something about pattern interval. If we were to just say, try to put these on the mat right now. Let's try to put, you saw that I could put 10 on the mat. So let's go ahead and try to do that, right? Let's go ahead and put 10 and see what happens. It's going to say, no, you can't put 10. You only have enough space per 6. And you're like, oh, okay. So you can only put 6. Well, let's not even, it's because there's the spacing. So let's just go ahead and put 1 for now because I know I can put 10 and there's an easier way. So let's just go ahead and stick 1 on the mat because it's only going to let us put 6 because of the way these have to sit by each other and they would overlap a little bit. But what I want to do, and that's because the spacing is small between them and it doesn't utilize the space. It doesn't take this one and flip a couple upside down and utilize all the space. that to utilize all the space, we can use the auto layout. So I know that 10 will fit. So you're going to just put one 4-inch triangle on the mat. And you're going to go to Object Edit, and you're just going to select, go here to the plus, which means duplicate, and go ahead and make your 10. Go ahead and put your 10, because I know 10 will fit. Okay, so we have 10. And there they are. And you're like, oh, wow, now I got to sit and flip some and move them. No, there's something called auto layout. So we're going to use auto layout. We're going to click OK. I'm going to click OK. Now, right here, this button here, right? It has all the different shapes going in different directions. That's what you want. Okay, that's called the auto layout. And then there's 3 options. The first option is just go ahead and do what you need to do. The first option is what I always use. It lets them take whatever triangles, move them in whatever direction, and get them all to fit on the mat. The second one keeps them all right side up and right and upside down, which will be really good too if you want them all going only in certain directions. Which in this case, it's going to do that anyway for the most part. So we can use the first option. But if you really have to have things pointing right side up and upside down, then you would use the second option. And the third option, if you really need to have things all pointing in the same direction, you use the third option. And you might be thinking, Paper Chef, why would I need to do that? Well, if your pattern or your paper is in a certain direction, here's your mushrooms, and you had a certain shape and everything, you're doing party favors and everything needs to be cut on this paper in a certain orientation, of course you're going to use the third option, because if you don't, it's going to start flipping everything around, and there goes your cute designer series paper, and half the shapes get cut upside down. So anyway, use the first option. Let it do its thing. See how it does its thing the way I want it anyway? It put them all at right angles. This is perfect because that's exactly what we just did a minute ago when I showed you that half are going to cut out like this, which is good for my squash book. Half are going to cut out like this, right? So now we have our 10 and they're fitting perfectly. And now we have more than we would have got if we tried to use just putting them on there ourselves, where it only let us put 6. Now we can put 10. All right, so before we cut these, go ahead and say okay. I want to add that other shape. I want to add the shape over here because to utilize, that's that little postage stamp shape. And I'll show you where I got it. So you're going to go to add, say this is the one we're going to cut because we can. We're going to add, and I'm going to, instead of adding it from here, there is a postage stamp shape in there, but I really like this one because it's in a shaker card that I made recently. I don't know if I have that to show you. I actually went to go try to mail it, and yeah, I have it to show you. Okay, it's like a shape I used for a shaker card, which is also will be linked in the description. Okay, click here. You want the second one. It looks like, you know, the Eiffel Tower, and it's these icons. Okay, go down to the one with the frame with this little tag. Okay, it's the second from the left. Well, actually, there's another page, but it's on the first page. This one right here, the little tags and frames, and you want this little postage stamp shape AR-KO15. It does take me a while to write these descriptions, but let me write stamp shape AR-KO15. All right, there we go. That's the shape we want. And now I know this will fit. I know that if we change the width to 2.5, right? 2.5, we can fit 4 of these. So let's just put 2. Let's just put 1 for now. I mean, not 1. We're going to put 4, but there's 2.5. Click OK. Click OK. And now we can put the 4. I know 4 will fit. We just have to do the auto layout. Oh, we don't need to do the auto layout. I had to because I put it last time. But there, it already laid it out in the exact right spot. You can't put 5 though because there's nowhere for the 5th to go, even if it was in this orientation. So you can put 4 of them. So go ahead and do that. Utilize all your space, all your shapes. Of course, those using a paper trimmer aren't going to be able to do this part of my tutorial. You can just go ahead and cut all the triangles you need for your squash book, because any paper crafter can make a squash book. You don't need a ScanNCut. I mean, this is just icing on the cake if you have one. All right, there we go. We're going to click OK. And of course, you could save your template so you can use it again. In case you're new to my channel, just show you how to do that. I'm going to overwrite my template, but you would just save it for the first time. Go to save. It's asking you, where do you want to save your template? Your machine, Canvas workspace, or your USB stick. I'm going to save it to my machine. You're not going to overwrite yours. You're going to have a new one. I'm just going to overwrite mine. Oh no, I'm not going to overwrite it because it let's see. I already have one. It just means that if I had been working with this earlier, I would overwrite it. So bottom line is that's how you save it. I'm not going to go ahead and I already have one on my machine. I'll show you how to retrieve it. And you would click cut. Okay? So click cut and you'd start. It's going to take 3 minutes, and I'm not going to go ahead and do that right now for 3 minutes. Okay, let's just go ahead and erase the screen for a second. So you're all done. I already have mine saved, okay? Don't erase yours, save it. But the next day, say you saved your template like I showed you in the last one, and then you're going to retrieve it the next day, and you can go ahead and retrieve it. I'd already saved mine. I hope I didn't confuse you there. I saved it twice. I saved it yesterday, and I just saved it today. Okay, so, or earlier today, whatever. There it is. Okay, you're going to retrieve that template that's on your machine, and you can cut it again and again. So now you have a squash book template, okay? I'm not making you wait the 3 minutes to cut this, but I'm going to do that after this. So what I want to show you now is just how to decorate it and how to use your trimmer for making some more, and we'll get you ready for the next step and give you your homework. All right, so we've made this template. It's a squash book template. I said, oh, this is fun. I said we opened it up and the two side ones, well, that would be the top, because in the middle, let me see if I can't get my camera back a little. In the middle one went down, and the top and the side ones went up. So that would be the middle, right? And then these sides went up. So if that's the inside of my book, with the two middle parts going down inside, right? That's the inside of my book. Then I'm going to close my book for a second, and I'm gonna say that's the inside of my book. I'm gonna put my little sticky notes. I have little sticky notes that have an orientation to them. So these are my emoji sticky notes. I'm just doing something like, that's the front of my hair. That's the front of my book. I'm doing that because whether or not you put an outside cover on this or not, you always want to know what's the front and what's the back, right? I'm just gonna do that. Which part of that here? That emoji doesn't have a neat orient here. We'll put this emoji. All right, so that's the back of my book. Now I know the front and back of my book. A, we might cover these up with nice panels, like with thick cardstock, right? B, even if we don't, you just use designer series paper, we still want to know what's the front or the back, right? Whether we put ribbons on them or not. So when we decorate, we know what orientation to put our design. So let's lay this out. I'm going to show you how now to put your design, and we'll cut some. This is just a triangle. So if I'm going to lay this out like this, right? A little piece of adhesive. I got some glitter on there from my organdy ribbon. Then we want to take all the triangles we made and sort of, right? If that's the front, I don't want to put that like that, right? Because someone's going to open this up, and that's kind of upside down. But this would be right side up. I hope that makes sense. So you're going to do your little layout. You don't have to do your layout before you glue them, but I like to do a little bit of a layout before I glue them. Like that one is not enough contrast. I'd put this one on a piece of red right over there. And then of course, just like some of these are going to go at the other orientation. Like some of these triangles are going to go maybe down here, right? Something like that, so that they're not right next to each other, the same design. All right, so you get the idea. And then this one, we just did some mushrooms. All right, those are ones I cut manually. I did cut a couple manually. All right, that's good enough. You get the idea. So now I would use this Seal Plus adhesive, and you can also use glue if you want. I really need to move my machine out of the way. I hope it don't fall off the other end of the table. Here we go. That would not be good. Oh, we need to change our Seal Plus. Oh wait, actually maybe I have one. See if this one has some. Okay, good. I like to use rolling adhesive. What's nice about these triangles is but I also like to use a little dab of glue where I can't get this. If I can't get the rolling adhesive up in the corner, like this, if I can, which I can in this case, if I can't get adhesive up in the corner, I like to just take my glue and put a little dab of glue in the corner, because it's very important not to, these little triangles, that they don't lift up. The edges of these don't lift up. So your homework is to decorate at least one side of your squash book so that you're ready to do the cover in part 3. So you need some triangles, right? You need some triangles, and you're going to decorate. And I think in my VIP group, we'll just share some of the squash books and see what people came up with, because I know some of you are going to do florals. I mean, not everybody's going to do this Snail Mail designer series paper, but look how cute that looks. And we'll just do one on the opposite, right? Let's see what we can find here. Here, this one will be cute. We'll do that one. Super cute, right? Super cute. See the orientation? The way I used the bottom half of that triangle? And I mean, I just started making these, but I'm just trying to teach you the little tips about, you know, I had decorated the front side of mine. I'm just putting a little bit of adhesive on it. I decorated the front side of mine fine, but the back side I did do like a couple panels not in the right orientation. So I know, and I couldn't get them back off, but it was the back side after all. And why do we have one front and one back? Because the back doesn't have as many panels to decorate, because you're going to have these covers, right? So the back doesn't have, like in the inside of the book, this is the inside of the book, you have these extra panels on the right, this side and this side to decorate, which is nice. Okay, so that's what they look like. Now these we're going to use for these bigger pieces, right? You're going to use for the inside. And now this is, if you want them all going like this way, that would be like, if that's your orientation. Or at this point you could divide your half and you can make that one go. If it's still the inside of your book, you could these are still facing up. You just don't want to make it go like this, upside down, right? But if you want to make this side of the book sort of go off in that direction, and this side of the book off in that direction, and these two don't matter, that's fine. But in my case, I was thinking I did something like that. So that's how you're going to do the inside panels. All right, so why the paper trimmer for those? And it's just a mathematical reason. So you have your paper trimmer, you have your designer series paper. These, I said, use these bigger pieces for the panels. You can cut 3 at once, okay? 3 pieces of designer series paper at once in your paper trimmer, okay? I just need to show you this because you're going to see, oh, that's why she's using a paper trimmer for the squares. Yes, we can use paper trimmer. We could use the ScanNCut to cut our squares perfectly. But when you start putting space between things when you cut with the ScanNCut, I'm just going to go ahead and make 4 inches. Okay, that was 4 inches. Let's see, I'm just doing it one more time. Then, you know, when you start adding space between your cuts, you don't get as much, okay? So now look at that. We cut 1, 2, 3, and now, of course, it's 12-inch paper, so you can get 12 4-inch squares out of each paper. And you can cut then 12, 36 at once when you cut your little squares. Okay, so that's why I'm using the paper trimmer. It's way faster than the ScanNCut, but here, let's go back to the pattern interval. Getting back to this. When you start putting spaces between things when you cut in the ScanNCut, then you waste a lot of paper. You couldn't have got this many squares, right, out of, as you can when you use a paper trimmer. You get way more squares out of your paper. There's no paper wasted, in other words. So I'm going to use the best tool for the job. Sometimes it's the ScanNCut, but when I'm making an actual 4-inch square, it is not the ScanNCut. It is a paper trimmer. And you can cut 36 of these easily, all three pieces of paper at once. And I'll just give you a little tip about these, and then you could do your homework. So you have, here's your squash book. Okay, so you have this. You see how this piece works great on the squash book because you have all these snails that are visible, right? This one's only one snail is visible. You see how the other snails are cut off. You see how I would use this piece? But this piece, I'm like, look, all the snails are cut off except for that one. So I would use that side of the paper. Hope that makes sense. I would use that side for the panel, if that's the case. If there's too many snails cut off on the one side. And then this guy looks cute. And same with this one. Use this mushroom because you got the whole mushroom. Whereas if you don't have the whole mushroom, right? Like, well, that one's cute, but it's not as cute. This is cuter. This one's not as cute. So that one you maybe use the heart side. All right, so now if you do want to use these to make, if you do want to make triangles out of these, because you just want a couple extra little pieces with this side on them, and you already cut them all into this. So you can make triangles with your paper trimmer, or if that's all you have in the first place. But you just got to do this. And this is my trick. Again, I'm all about tips and tricks. Get a little piece of tape. Trust me on this one. If not, it does slip. Kind of line that up in there. Line it up along. This is my paper trimmer, Stampin' trimmer. And you see I'm lined up in the groove. Get into the groove. And so it's perfectly lined up in the groove, but I put a little piece of tape there. Okay? So can you see that? I put a little piece of tape, even though it's perfectly in the groove. Perfectly in the groove. I hope I'm not cutting one of my cute pieces, but you know what? I have so many extra, it's okay. I mean, they're all cute pieces, but I'm hoping I'm not cutting my the piece with the snails were perfect. Okay, so you do have pretty good triangles. I'm not going to say they're perfect. They're pretty good. I mean, because it's a paper trimmer. They're not as perfect as your ScanNCut, but they're a 4-inch square and you just cut it in half and that's how you do it. I mean, you can make them perfect with a little extra work, but there's just a little bit of, you know, see how the paper gets caught. It's just my trimmer. It could be my trimmer. I don't know if you can see that. The paper gets caught a little bit, whereas the points are perfect when you use that really nice blade with the ScanNCut. Whereas me trying to do it with my paper trimmer, it gets a little, they just get a little jammed up in the sides. I mean, that's just me, but you can say, not me, I could cut perfect triangles. Well, go for it. Use whatever tool you have, right? All right, back to this, then we're done. Okay, so take these cute little guys, are going to be great later for whether you want it. You don't even have to cover every panel with designer series paper, but you can. But these are really cute for something like this. So you have this pattern with the hearts, right? And you have the hearts like that. These will be great for just doing that on top of the hearts, so it's not so plain. But also I like to use my little cuties for that. I like to take the little things I cut out of designer series paper and put them in there. And you don't have to decorate your whole squash book, because the idea of a squash book is a mini album, and you might want to put pictures on it, and you might want to put cute little notes, or like you could cut out some shapes with the postage stamp punch and just kind of use shapes. And whether or not use Happy Mail, you could actually write little messages all over the squash book. So it depends on what the book is for, and how much of it you decorate and how much you leave blank. All right, so now you understand how to do the triangles, the squares, 4-inch squares, 4-inch triangles, extra shapes. Now we're going to close our squash book. Go to the other side for a second. Close it. Go to the other side. These are going to be covered possibly, right? So now we don't have as many panels, but go ahead and decorate the inside if you want, or the other side if you want. You don't have to though. It's the back side. Okay, decorate that side, keeping in mind the orientation of your book, right? When you decorate, when you use your triangles, I'll be doing that. And then go ahead and make some extra squash books, or I have some pieces made here, because while you're at it, use coordinating colors. This is what I've done. Real red, basic gray, Bermuda Bay. I have one book here. I'll probably put real red in the middle of that one. That's what I'll do for the middle of that one. I'll put the real red one in the middle panel. And then for this one, I have Daffodil Delight, basic black and real red, and I'll probably put the basic black in the middle because the covers might be black. And then I'm working on squash books for other, so those were the Snail Mail squash books I'm working on, and I'm working on some to go with the, what is that one called? Ice Cream Corner. Okay, so this is another one I'm making. Ice Cream Corner Suite. I thought, why not make squash books to go with Ice Cream Corner? Because then it might go with my paper pumpkin kit, but I don't know. I haven't opened that yet. So I know that it's supposed to go with Ice Cream Corner, but who knows? Maybe those are the same coordinating colors. I just forget. For now, I'm working on Snail Mail ones. So that was part 2. In part 3, we are going to decorate the covers of the squash book. I'm going to show you what I have planned. This is just in my mind so far. I haven't tried it yet, but I took out some ribbon. This ribbon is nice. It's called, this is available now. It's called Pool Party ribbon, and it's very sheer, and it's nice to put behind paper and use to tie. This one is a little thicker, and it's a retired ribbon, but it's Bermuda Bay, and it matches, and it's a retired chevron ribbon, which I like because I'm going to use this one with my little antique sliders that'll close. Okay, that's going to help close my ribbon. I'm thinking I can use that one with that. And then this one is great for tying as well. This is glitter organdy ribbon. So this one can go behind a panel as well. So two of the books are going to be tied shut, and one is going to have like a sort of a belly band, or either belly band or this kind of ribbon. I'm going to have a belly band and maybe 2 ties. We'll see. So that's what I've planned for the next video, is showing you how to decorate, or how to cover, I should say, how to cover and finish up the finishing touches, cover and embellish our squash books. Thank you. That's all for now. This is the Paper Chef.